I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey Patriot Warrior fam, I'm Face, and these are the histories that America forgot. According to many accounts of the battle, between 5 and 7 Texians surrendered. Incensed that his orders had been ignored, Santa Anna demanded the immediate execution of the survivors. Weeks after the battle, stories circulated that Crockett was among those who surrendered. Ben, a former United States slave who cooked for one of Santa Anna's officers, maintained that Crockett's body was found surrounded by, quote, no less than 16 Mexican corpses, end quote. Historians disagree on which version of Crockett's death is accurate. Santa Anna reportedly told Captain Fernando Orriza that the battle was, quote, but a small affair, end quote. Another officer then remarked that, quote, with another victory such as this, we'll go to the devil, end quote. In his initial report, Santa Anna claimed that 600 Texians had been killed, with only 70 Mexican soldiers killed and 300 wounded. His secretary, Ramon Martinez Caro, reported 400 killed. Other estimates on the number of Mexican soldiers killed ranged from 60 to 200, with an additional 250 to 300 wounded. Some people, historians, and survivors, such as Susanna Dickinson, have estimated that over 1,000 to 1,600 Mexican soldiers were killed and wounded, but it is most likely that total casualties were less than 600. Texian Dr. J.H. Barnard, who tended the Mexican soldiers, reported 300 to 400 dead and 200 to 300 wounded. Most Alamo historians place the number of Mexican casualties at 400 to 600. This would represent about 1/4 of over 2,000 Mexican soldiers involved in the final assault, which Tadish remarks is, quote, a tremendous casualty rate by any standards, end quote. Most eyewitnesses counted between 182 and 257 Texians killed. Some historians believe that at least one Texian, Henry Warnell, successfully escaped from the battle. Warnell died several months later of wounds incurred either during the final battle or during his escape as a courier. Mexican soldiers were buried in the local cemetery, Campo Santo. Shortly after the battle, Colonel José Juan Sánchez Navarro proposed that a monument should be erected to the fallen Mexican soldiers. Cos rejected the idea. The Texian bodies were stacked and burned. The only exception was the body of Gregorio Esparza. His brother Francisco, an officer in Santa Anna's army, received permission to give Gregorio a proper burial. The ashes were left where they fell until February 1837, when Juan Seguin returned to Béjar to examine the remains. A simple coffin inscribed with the names Travis, Crockett, and Bowie was filled with ashes from the funeral pyres. According to a March 28, 1837 article in the Telegraph and Texas Register, Seguin buried the coffin under a peach tree grove. The spot was not marked and cannot now be identified. Seguin later claimed that he had placed the coffin in front of the altar at the San Fernando Cathedral. In July 1936, a coffin was discovered buried in that location, but according to historian Wallace Cheriton, it is unlikely to actually contain the remains of the Alamo defenders. Fragments of uniforms were found in the coffin, and the Texian soldiers who fought at the Alamo were known not to wear uniforms. In an attempt to convince other slaves in Texas to support the Mexican government over the Texian rebellion, Santa Anna spared Travis's slave Joe. The day after the battle, he interviewed each non-combatant individually. Impressed with Susanna Dickinson, Santa Anna offered to adopt her infant daughter Angelina and have the child educated in Mexico City. Dickinson refused the offer, which was not extended to Juana Navarro Alsbury, although her son was of similar age. Each woman was given a blanket and 2 silver pesos. Alsbury and the other Tejano women were allowed to return to their homes in Bejar. Dickinson, her daughter, and Joe were sent to Gonzales, escorted by Ben. They were encouraged to relate the events of the battle and to inform the remainder of the Texian forces that Santa Anna's army was unbeatable. During the siege, newly elected delegates from across Texas met at the convention of 1836. On March 2nd, the delegates declared independence, forming the Republic of Texas. 4 days later, the delegates at the convention received a dispatch Travis had written on March 3rd, warning of his dire situation. Unaware that the Alamo had fallen, Robert Potter called for the convention to adjourn and march immediately to relieve the Alamo. Sam Houston convinced the delegates to remain in Washington on the Brazos to develop a constitution. After being appointed sole commander of all Texian troops, Houston journeyed to Gonzales to take command of the 400 volunteers who were still waiting for Fannin to lead them to the Alamo. Within hours of Houston's arrival on March 11th, Andres Barcenas and Anselmo Bergaras arrived with news that the Alamo had fallen and all Texians were slain. Hoping to halt a panic, Houston arrested the men as enemy spies. They were released hours later, when Susanna Dickinson and Joe reached Gonzales and confirmed the report. Realizing that the Mexican army would soon advance towards the Texian settlements, Houston advised all civilians in the area to evacuate and ordered his new army to retreat. This sparked a mass exodus known as the Runaway Scrape, and most Texians, including members of the new government, fled east. Despite their losses at the Alamo, the Mexican army in Texas still outnumbered the Texian army almost 6-1. Santa Anna assumed that knowledge of the disparity in troop numbers and the fate of the Texian soldiers at the Alamo would quell the resistance, and the Texian soldiers would quickly leave the territory. News of the Alamo's fall had the opposite effect, and men flocked to join Houston's army. The New York Post editorialized that, quote, "Had Santa Anna treated the vanquished with moderation and generosity, it would have been difficult, if not impossible, to awaken that general sympathy for the people of Texas, which now compels so many adventurous and ardent spirits to throng to the aid of their brethren." End quote. On the afternoon of April 21st, the Texian army attacked Santa Anna's camp near Lynchburg Ferry. The Mexican army was taken by surprise, and the Battle of San Jacinto was essentially over in 18 minutes. During the fighting, many of the Texian soldiers repeatedly cried, "Remember the Alamo," as they slaughtered fleeing Mexican troops. Santa Anna was captured the following day and reportedly told Houston, quote, "The man may consider himself born to no common destiny who has conquered the Napoleon of the West, and now it remains for him to be generous to the vanquished." End quote. Houston replied, quote, "You should have remembered that at the Alamo." End quote. Santa Anna's life was spared, and he was forced to order his troops out of Texas, ending Mexican control of the province and bestowing some legitimacy to the new republic.
I can hear the drums in the distance. I can feel the fear, the resistance. Everything can change in an instant. You might stay alive if you listen. Your best friend is your instincts, don't think. Trust me, everything can change in a blink. Hearts race, I can feel my heart pounding. Hold our heads up and list the chant we'll be shouting. This is war, you won't take me. This is war, you can't break me. It's just me, no saving. I'm the only one who could save me. So stand strong, stand tall, stay up, don't fall. Give it everything you got. No fears, no walls, just fight, no laws. Push yourself to the limits, just to fight for it all.
Then I'm on top of it, I got fuel for days, and some weapons that you can't stop, yeah, I won't think twice, into the enemy won't make it out alive. I got a full supply of energy and might, you pick the wrong side, Here I go, taking every single blow to the dome, never slow, pushing through it cause you know that I chose to be known, legendary, I'ma show everybody in this battle that comes close, stay exposed, yeah.
This is war, you won't take me. This is war, you can't break me. It's just me, no saving. I'm the only one who could save me. So stand strong, stand tall, stand